So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our off-season rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Golden State Warriors. So the Warriors ended the regular season as the 10 seed in the Western Conference, meaning they had to win 2 play-in games just to be the 1 seed throughout the playoffs. Now, obviously that did not happen. They lost their first play-in game to the Sacramento Kings. It was close at some points, I guess. Made a little bit of a run, but end of the day, it was time for that season. And so this is a Warriors team that has a lot of decisions this offseason. Future of Klay Thompson up in the air. Are they going to bring back Chris Paul? They have a lot of young pieces still in place, but there are a lot of big decisions to make with this team whose future is up in the air right now, to say it nicely. I'll give you my full thoughts on this roster and this team in its entirety, but real quick before we get into the video, of course, if you guys have any other rebuild ideas, make sure to let me know down below in the comment section. At the time I am recording this, I think we have a couple more off-season rebuilds we could technically do. I only do teams once they're eliminated from the postseason, so I'm sure you're all very much aware of that. But yeah, Warriors felt like a good place to start. They were the first team eliminated, and I think this one is definitely going to be hopefully appreciated by a lot of Warriors fans. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and have a chat about this Golden State Warriors roster as it stands right now. There's going to be a lot of question marks for this team this offseason. It's not like there's a ton of cap space to work with. They don't have their first round pick this year, unless it's miraculously somehow in the top 4 in the draft lottery. And this is a team that, doesn't really feel like they have an identity right now. You think back to all those super team Warriors with the championship hopes and the championships that delivered, and there's just really, there's pieces of it left. It's not the same. Obviously everything good must go, but really, man, I don't really know what it's going to be for this team this offseason. But here today, not a realistic rebuild. We're going to go ahead and do some God's work and hopefully get Steph at least one more ring before he hangs it up. All right, talking about Steph Curry. In my opinion, he's the best point guard of all time. I'm sure many of you might believe that's Magic Johnson. I am 24 years old. I never watched Magic Johnson. Sure, I can see the highlights, but when I look at Steph Curry, he's the best in my opinion anyway. So more than welcome to disagree with me. Chris Paul is 39. His contract next year is not guaranteed. I know 2K is not going to be able to deal with that much complications. Here in 2K, it's guaranteed, but real life, it's not. It's going to be a very interesting decision. I believe even if they don't bring him back, just don't give him that year that he has, I guess, technically up in the air right now. I don't think they have any cap space still, so maybe they bring him back. I can't imagine there's anybody that's going to want Chris Paul, especially at a $30 million price tag. So I don't know, man. That's Lester Quinones, maybe if he develops a little bit, could potentially be a rotation piece. Klay Thompson's going to be the question mark of the offseason for him. Do they want to bring him back? Do they want to spend the money that it's going to take to retain his services? I don't know, but 0 points, and I don't want to call it a Game 7 because it's not. It's a play-in game, but theoretically, it's kind of the same thing. It's do or die. He didn't show up, and I know Klay Thompson has showed up numerous amount of times for this team throughout the course of their run. I just don't know if Klay Thompson is worth paying what he's probably going to ask for. I don't. I think doing the same thing next year just doesn't feel smart. I'd personally let Klay walk. I don't know what we're going to do today. We'll find out. Brandon Podziemski had a fantastic rookie season. I am very excited to hopefully have him be a solid contributor on this team here today. Only 21 years of age, excuse me. Of course, that rookie contract. Very nice as well. Andrew Wiggins is another name that could be moved this offseason. His name has been in deadline rumors before. Never have really gone ahead and actually made that big decision, but I still think he can be a valuable contributor, especially think back to that 2022 playoff run, especially the finals, just how good he was, especially defensively, much as it does hurt me as a Celtics fan, but Wiggins was very, very good and a very big contributor there. I just don't know if he's really worth that price tag anymore. It's just kind of where we're at. Gary Payton, I believe, also a free agent this offseason. Moses Moody, one of the nice young pieces they have here as well. So, I mean, it's not as bad as some people make it seem, because obviously Steph Curry's still here. They have Podziemski. They have Moody. We're going to talk about Jonathan Kuminga in just a second. Draymond Green, free agent last offseason. They ended up bringing him back on a 4-year, $100 million contract. Interesting, but I felt like Draymond Green was one of those guys he kind of had to bring back, the little bit of identity that I guess they do have. I think a lot of that's from Draymond Green. So you can love him, you can hate him. The Warriors aren't the Warriors without Draymond Green. I firmly believe that. Jonathan Kuminga is somebody who almost seemed like he was out of the rotation at one point. Obviously earned his way back, had a conversation with Steve Kerr, and basically kind of went public about it, really. But he's definitely somebody I want to build with today. Dario Saric, free agent. Guy Santos. I don't really know what we have in store for him today. And then the center spot, Trace Jackson-Davis, solid season here with Golden State. It's his first season, right? He's a rookie, right? Yeah, no, I thought I wasn't making that up. But at a 78 overall, I don't know if he's ever going to turn into, that star center, but he's definitely going to be a serviceable rotation piece for us here today. Kevon Looney, longtime veteran on this team. Not a bad contract at all, especially for, decent age, decent overall. We're good there. And then Usman Garuba probably won't be much. So, that is the Warriors team. And as crazy as it is to say, I know obviously a few things are different. This team isn't much different from like a core-wise versus that 2022 championship team. So, I understand that age and all these other factors, sure, there's some smaller-end bench pieces like Otto Porter who are no longer here, and Jordan Poole, obviously. But I know, it doesn't feel like the Warriors should have been that bad this year, and it were. It's weird. Okay, Popovich not going to let you retire. Let's just get into it because we're obviously going to go ahead and have to make some pretty big decisions, some drastic changes, whatever you want to call it. And we'll go from there. The Trailblazers do have our pick. It was actually from the Celtics. They included it in the Drew Holiday trade. Now it is Portland. So unless it somehow jumps into the top 4, which it does not, we're not going to have our first this year. Unfortunate. But honestly, past that, Steve Kerr, I'll wait a second to talk about Steve Kerr, but something that the Warriors have done right is they haven't given up their entire future in terms of draft picks, right? They still have a lot of picks. I think the one maybe first-round pick that they don't have is 2030. I believe that's to the Wizards. I don't know what trade that's from. Maybe the Chris Paul one, I guess, but it's top 20 protected, and if it's in the top 20, it turns into like 2 seconds, so it doesn't matter. And then Steve Kerr, a lot of different opinions about Steve Kerr. Obviously, he's been tremendously successful as the Golden State Warriors head coach. And I still am of the belief he's one of the better head coaches in the league. He has fantastic ratings here today. I'm not going to fire him, but I know some people have some mixed opinions about him, especially in the Bay Area. So let's get into it. We have the 22nd overall pick in round 2 via the Milwaukee Bucks. We take a look at some of the contracts we have here right now. I would not be opposed to maybe making a deal now, but there's honestly not a lot of guys that you can really trade for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'll actually just trade away this second. Again, some people get mad when I do this. Some people like to see me use second-round picks. If second-round picks were as effective in 2K as they, can be in real life from time to time, I'd use it. But unfortunately, that's not the case we have today. I'll bring back Quinones, and then Gary Payton actually picks up his nearly $10 million player option. So we have him back. I'm not going to qualify Garuba, and everybody else pretty much free to go. So a free agency class, our one big decision here is Mr. Klay Thompson. He has a 1-year, $7 and almost $8 million offer from the Grizzlies. He wants about $20 million here today. Now, I know this is not a realistic rebuild. I know, and I'm certainly not just going to, I don't feel like letting Klay walk for nothing. But just signing and trading him, I don't really know. So I still might do it. I want to find some other trades first. Our first trade of the offseason is going to come with the Utah Jazz, and it is a move that might piss off some Warriors fans, but Draymond Green and Gary Payton are going to Utah for Walker Kessler in a 2027 first. Obviously, this is a trade that is for many, many reasons, but first and foremost, we're obviously getting a really nice young player, defensive-minded center, also getting a draft pick. He's on a rookie contract. I think this trade makes a lot of sense. I cannot emphasize how important my personal belief is that Draymond Green is such a key piece of this Warriors run that they've been on, but here in 2K doesn't nearly mean as much. So that's the trade we're going to make. Walker Kessler going to take over as our starting center. He does develop quite nicely. I think it's going to be a 2-man rotation with him and Trace Jackson-Davis, so maybe Kevon Looney's on his way out as well. We're going to chat with the Denver Nuggets real quick. We're going to see if maybe they're willing to trade me Michael Porter Jr. Look, I'd love to add him to this team. Obviously, he'd be an upgrade over Andrew Wiggins. Kevon Looney's just kind of fall out of the rotation, and we have to include him or somebody to make the money work, so I thought, might as well. Let's see if we can maybe they want a first in 28. They'll give me Hunter Tyson, and that's okay. That seems like a fine deal to me. So, I talked a little bit about Wiggins and what I think his impact could be and has been on this team. I think, again, it would not be the worst idea for a fresh start maybe for both sides this offseason. So, obviously, Michael Porter Jr. is not going to happen in a deal, but again, here in 2K anyways, I'm very happy about that. And then the other reason I made the Draymond Green trade earlier that I didn't even really touch on is because Kuminga is going to get a full starting role now at the power forward spot, and hopefully he develops super well. So, bringing in some nice new faces here, some young guys, some established guys like Michael Porter Jr., while still being relatively young and kind of in that prime era. So, exactly what I've been looking for. I think we still have a few more deals. Okay, we just pulled off a pretty big trade there with the San Antonio Spurs. Chris Paul is no longer a member of the Golden State Warriors. We picked up Devin Vassell in a deal. We basically traded away everybody on our bench who was, I guess, relatively young, not going to play, and then one future first. I think it was 2027, maybe. It was whatever the, 2028. That's what it was. So I wanted to hang on to my first next year just in case, there's a somewhat possibility maybe we stink. And so we traded away our 2028 first, and we went ahead and picked up our new shooting guard here in Devin Vassell. So I know I just talked about not wanting to let Klay Thompson kind of walk for nothing, but we're kind of at the point where I don't really think it's going to matter. You know, taking on Klay Thompson at $20 million annually might just be a little bit too big of a pain in the ass to maybe move on from. So I think I'm just going to let him go. You know, we've completed this starting lineup the way I think it's going to work out super well for us. Only thing left to do is find ourselves a backup power forward and a backup point guard, and we have a new core here with Steph. So that's really all I was looking for. I wasn't expecting, you know, miracles by any way, shape, or form, but I think we've done a pretty good job. All right, you know what? Maybe I will bring back. I know I just got done talking about this, but there's nobody here in free agency, and we are shit out of money. So I might just do a sign and trade with Klay. I mean, I'll maybe try to find a realistic destination. I'm not going to make any promises, but I have to find a point guard and a power forward, and it needs to be somebody at least somewhat competent. I can't get there quite. All right, I need power forward and point guard. Anybody offering me? Wow, I can get Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter. Oh, it just doesn't really feel right. Derek Lively, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. I can get Neesmith and McConnell. Huh. Could get Stewart and Grimes. Now, not like Klay would ever go to Detroit or anything like that. Look, I know I'm not exactly, you know, Mr. Realistic around here, but I don't want to just ship him off to the middle of nowhere. That feels a little cheesy, even though I do it from time to time. But this honestly feels like it might be as good as we're going to get, and then maybe I flip Grimes for some sort of, I don't know, backup point guard, because everything else, I mean, this deal is nice on paper, but I don't want to give up a first-round pick for backups, especially because I know McConnell does regress. So, you know what? We're going to do this deal. I fully understand that there's not a realistic world out there where Klay Thompson goes to Detroit, and if I had a better option, I probably would have taken it. But Quentin Grimes, let's just see. Any sort of point guard here. I can get Peyton Pritchard, but I don't want to swap draft picks. I can get Bones Highland. That probably is about as good as it's going to be. So let's just go through this one more time. Not really seeing anything I love. Anyways, all right, let's take Bone Highland here from the Los Angeles Clippers. We're all set. I'll see you guys at the start of year number 1. After a very, very interesting first offseason here in Golden State, where I probably pissed off a few Warriors fans, and for that, I am sorry, but I think we've put together a pretty good team around Steph Curry, and year 1 is officially ready to kick off. So, it is Steph Curry. He's 36 years old. He's a 94 overall. Looks like he dropped 1 or 2. It's not the end of the world. He's still one of the best players in the league. Devin Vassell, new addition here at the shooting guard spot. Michael Porter Jr., Jonathan Kuminga now in a starting role, which is definitely good to see, and then Walker Kessler here as well. Bench unit is actually pretty damn good. I will definitely live with this bench. Brandon Podziemski is going to be my 6th man here. Isaiah Stewart here as our backup power forward. I didn't even realize having him and Draymond Green hypothetically on the same team would have been like 2 of the bigger hotheads in basketball. I don't know, it's just funny. Trace Jackson-Davis as our backup center. Moses Moody still in here, and then Bones Highland, who we just picked up in a deal with the Los Angeles Clippers. So that rounds out our 10-man rotation. I really like our bench. It is definitely a young bench, but there's a lot of potential on it. I think the starting 5 definitely fits well together. So I'm excited. I don't know if we're a championship caliber team, but we are definitely moving in the right direction. And with the way this team was constructed and the cap hell issues and all that shit, we're pretty I can't fucking speak. We're in a pretty good spot right now. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. 52-30. That's how we wrap up the first season here in Golden State. And honestly, with the outlook that we had when we kicked off this video, I think that's a very, very good place to be in. Nikola Jokic, another MVP. Matas Buzelis, Rookie of the Year. He is a Charlotte Hornet. Interesting numbers for a Rookie of the Year. I'm not going to lie. I know not everybody's going to be Wemby, but seriously. Jonas Valanciunas is now a Laker. He's your 6th man of the year. Wemby, speaking of the devil, he's your D-boy. James Wiseman is now a Bull, most improved. And Steph Curry, Clutch Player of the Year. God damn. Mike Malone, head coach of the Denver Nuggets, your coach of the year. We are, let's check it out real quick. We are the, oh shit, I completely messed this. We are the 3 seed. We're going to have the Pelicans here in the first round of the playoffs. And it is definitely good to see us kind of up near the top, kind of really fighting with some of the big boys up there. Truly do love to see it once again, at least, you know, some of you, anyways. Player stats: Steph Curry, Jonathan Kuminga, Devin Vassell, Michael Porter Jr., Stewart, Kessler, Podziemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, Highland, and Moody. Boards was Kessler, assists was Steph. Round 1, us and the Pelicans. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, CJ Herb Jones. I know many of you are aware I'm a huge Herb Jones fan. Larry Nance Jr., you got Trey Murphy here, fantastic bench piece. Dyson Daniels developing nicely. My GOAT, Luke Cornett, as I call him, Luke 7 foot for nothing. Cornett, no, he's improved very well this year. I have to cut the slack. I have to cut Luke a little bit of slack. All right, we drop game 1, do win game 2 and game 3. We go up 3-1. Okay, they're fighting back a little bit, and we do win in 6. We're now moving on to the Thunder. They are young, but they are immensely, immensely talented. You have an MVP candidate here in SGA. You have a pedophile in Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. I don't know why every single time I see like the Thunder in one of these rebuilds, OG Anunoby always ends up there. Not a bad move. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just funny how it always happens. Casey Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Quentin. God damn. That's an insane match. Didn't I trade Quentin Grimes to the Clippers? I don't know. We are currently down 3-0, and we get swept. Honestly, it feels like that was kind of the ceiling for this first season for it. What the hell is going on in Charlotte? I didn't even see that. Really? In the big 2025, you're having Grant Williams and Andre Drummond start on a championship, I guess caliber team, as crazy as that is to say. All right. Okay. Jamal Murray Finals MVP. Damn, hell of a series from Jamal. All right, that's an interesting finals. I really wish we could have had a situation like that, but we did not. Can't override Popovich's retirement again, meaning he is officially done. Westbrook enters the Hall of Fame. Him and Blake Griffin get their jerseys retired. Draft lottery time. Did I trade for any picks? I don't think so. Not lottery ones anyways. It is the Jazz, the Grizzlies, Spurs, Bulls, and Rockets. Staff signing. We're good with Kerr. Did a good job this season with that new group together. Second round of the playoffs. Fine by me. 28th overall pick. I will draft somebody. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to keep them the entire time, but I know nobody likes it when I just trade away all my picks. So let's see who's sitting here at number 28 here in the 2025 NBA draft. Caleb Foster. That sounds familiar. Where is he from? Duke. Xavier Booker. Also familiar. Canyon Catchings, is that a real fucking name? That's an all-time name. Scotty Middleton, I don't really know much about, but he's rated 10 according to SN and 18 according to 2K. So feels like the smart pick. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and pretend that I do, but he's a 70 overall. We'll see what happens. Kessler, Podziemski, both coming back here, and then qualifying. Big free agency for us with Kuminga, Moody, and Highland. Definitely would like to retain all of them. So it's an insane free agency class. So we don't really have any money. Just the way this team's constructed kind of is what it is. So Kuminga wants nearly 25 mil a year. Moody wants about 13.5. Highland wants nearly 10. Definitely a hefty price to pay, but I do want to retain our guys. So bringing them all back. Now it is time to kind of look at this team because we could completely just run this group back. We had a relatively successful season for what we were expecting, but is there a world out there where we say, hey, maybe Steph needs a little bit more help offensively at least? Nobody's numbers outside of Steph Curry really blew me away. I do think we're a very well-rounded team, but if we can maybe go ahead and get him somebody that's just in that next tier of talent, I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world considering the man is 37. So let's see what we can do. Okay, we just pulled off a deal with Atlanta and went ahead and acquired Mr. DeJounte Murray. Just a little bit of the tier ahead of Devin Vassell. I don't mind Devin Vassell as a player. I just know how his development works. Unfortunately, it's not great. Here was the trade. We gave up 2 future first-round picks. We gave up Devin Vassell, Scotty Middleton, who we just drafted, and yeah, that was absolutely it, and that got us DeJounte Murray. So super excited to have him here. I'm excited to see what he does in the backcourt with Steph Curry. Everything else will remain the same, and I will see you guys at the start of year 2. Last year was an overall successful season for what our expectations were. This offseason, we made another big trade, adding DeJounte Murray to a really good, relatively young group that we have here around Steph Curry. So we're in a really good spot right now. I think another, step in the right direction, maybe a Western Conference or even an NBA Finals appearance would be really ideal. But as long as we're very consistent throughout the regular season and have some pretty moderate success in the playoffs, I'll be pretty happy. So here's how it's going to look. Steph Curry is 37. He's down to a 93. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm still not really because it's Steph Curry. New addition here with DeJounte Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Jonathan Kuminga, and Walker Kessler. I'm hoping one of these two guys can really shoot up an overall. Kuminga really not making the jumps I thought he would, so we'll see on that. We'll go year by year. Podziemski remains my 6th man. Still got Isaiah Stewart in here, Moses Moody, Trace Jackson Davis, Bones Highland rounding out this rotation. So it's a good team. It's a deep team. Quality depth. I'm sure many of you know that phrase. I use it quite a bit. And we're in a good spot. Let's go have some fun. I'll see you guys at the end of year 2. 70-12. That's how we wrap up the second season here in Golden State. Not quite the 73-9 that some other team, it's on the tip of my tongue, set the record for a few years back. Oh, yeah, that would be the Warriors. And, yeah, but 70 wins. Insane. Nonetheless, I will definitely take it. Luke is your MVP. Cooper Flag is in Utah. Kyle Kuzma, 6th man of the year in D.C. Who is good enough to be starting over him on that, I don't want to say dog shit, but dog shit franchise. Wemby's your D-Boy once again. Tyrese Proctor, not Prosper. Draft class creators, man, they drive me fucking crazy. I appreciate the job they do, but just get the names right. Nobody's coming to copyright claim you. Come on. LaMelo Ball, clutch player of the year. Steve Kerr, still hitting that same pose he's been hitting since 2K16. Really got to just bless the consistency this franchise has. All right, so 70 wins. No other team has more than 49. That's absolutely insane. Here's a look at the West. Charlotte Hornets are just running in the East. Excuse me, East, not West. I guess the Hornets are just the new top dog over there. It is Steph Curry. DeJounte Murray was that kind of another guy we were looking for. Kuminga also took another step. MPJ, Kessler, Podziemski, Stewart, Moody, Highland, and Davis. Rebounds per game was Kessler, and assists was Steph. Who's it going to be? It is us and the Pelicans, the team we faced last year in the first round. No more CJ McCollum. Zach Edey's in this starting lineup. I don't know why he's starting over Hartenstein, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it. We dropped game one. Less than ideal for a 70-win team. Oh, my God. Don't do this to me. 2K, don't do this to me. You know, you win 70 games. You think you're in a good spot. Steph played well. Kuminga, Michael Porter. What the fuck is this? That can't happen. Man, that's a bad series out of DeJounte Murray. I mean, I can't have you averaging a point more than Brandon Podziemski. That's bad. Now, I don't want to just hit the panic button and like trade him, trade everybody, but we're heading into one more year. That's it. So what the hell am I waiting for? What is going on with the Charlotte Hornets? Did they just blow a 3-win lead? They might have. All right, so some more interesting to see. Oh, well, that would be, I believe, who Kyle Kuzma was backing up. That's insane. We are obviously not happy about the way that ended. You know, there's no reason that a 70-win team should lose in round one ever. And just it happened, so it is what it is. Let's send through the lottery. It is the New York Knicks, the Orlando Magic, the Houston Rockets, the Washington Wizards, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We take a look at staff signing. Again, I'm not happy with Steve Kerr. You know, there's no excuse for that. I think it starts at the top, and that obviously being with him. And, you know, but the ratings are perfect, right? It's not like this isn't real life. You know, you can't fire guys for making really stupid decisions because it's a game. It's basically a robot. You can't do anything stupid with ratings like that. So we're going to hang on to him. I don't love it. If he had bad ratings, I'd fire his ass so goddamn quick. I don't care what he's won in real life. Steph's a free agent, which is obviously huge. We have no draft picks. Podziemski, Trace Jackson Davis. I should just say TJD. Going to be coming back. And then free agency. Kessler, also a free agent. Shit. Okay, well, Steph Curry has one offer. It's from the Pelicans. That would be insane. We're just going to bring back Steph, and then Kessler will bring him back as well. We end up re-upping both of them. Alex Caruso was here? That's insane. We are certainly going to make at least one trade, though. I'm going ahead and bringing back Kevon Looney. Now, you might not understand why I'm doing this, but it's very simple. I'm going to include Trace Jackson Davis in a trade, and some of you might hate that, but if you look at it from like the bigger perspective, he's playing 10, 12 minutes a night. It's not like he's getting any serious run out there that's really going to impact the game too much. So I understand it, but I don't have a lot of draft picks, and I have to find some sort of upgrade. My thought process is I'm going to have Michael Porter Jr. in a trade. I'm going to play Kuminga at the small forward spot, and ideally I'd find some sort of power forward to come in that can be a true game changer for us. So TJD, Michael Porter Jr. in a first. What do I have? If not, I will go out and look for one. Lauri Markkanen feels like kind of a home run, though, and maybe honestly I'll just leave Kuminga there. So I do think Lauri Markkanen is, you know, at least 1 or 2 levels ahead of Michael Porter Jr. Not to say MPJ sucks or anything like that. Pascal Siakam, and I can get James Wiseman back. Oh my God. I can get Şengün. Kind of crazy. I do get Şengün a decent amount, like when I have the option to. So I'm not going to do that today. So it's basically between Markkanen right now for me or Siakam. I actually think Siakam might be a little bit of a better option here because I do kind of want to go ahead and play Kuminga at the 3. I think that makes a little bit more sense. Fully understand I can just play Markkanen at the 4, but he's also a guy that I do get a decent amount. So I don't get Siakam a ton. I feel like he'd be a little bit of a better addition fit-wise for this team. Welcome to the group. All right, we also went ahead and picked up James Wiseman there. Maybe we didn't have to bring back Kevon Looney. It's funny, they still have the Warriors like picture for him here. So now I have to see if I want to make an Ivan. Wow, he goes up 4 overalls. God, I should have done that a long time ago. All right, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's the same thing with Jalen Williams. So what else could I upgrade? Really not a lot, but I think maybe even hanging on to Wiseman wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So you know what? I think the bench is honestly good enough. Let's just run it. And you know what? We brought back Kevon Looney. He's not going to play, but he'll be our 11th guy and a good veteran presence. I will see you guys at the start of the final regular season. Our 70-win season last year was super fun until it wasn't. Obviously, the round 1 playoff loss made us go ahead and make some pretty major changes to this team. There weren't changes I necessarily want to make, but they were changes I had to. You know, we couldn't run it back with that group after such a disappointing end. And we did not. We did no such thing. So here's how it's going to look the final regular season. Steph Curry continues to regress. Not like the numbers have changed a ton. He's still absolutely amazing, but he's, what, 38 now? Wild. DeJounte Murray still here. He had an absolutely atrocious ending to last year in the playoffs, but I'm giving him another chance with more talent around him. Hopefully it works out. Jonathan Kuminga, moved to the small forward spot, jumped up 3-4 overalls. You really do like to see it. New addition here with Pascal Siakam, and obviously Walker Kessler's been our center the entire time. Bench unit is still elite. Brandon Podziemski remains a six-man. I guess an old friend here in James Wiseman, who... yeah, I still kind of wonder where the Warriors would be at today if, say, they drafted LaMelo Ball. Just insane. Isaiah Stewart here, Moses Moody, and then Bones Highland rounding out this 10-man rotation. So but I would be dumb to say this team doesn't have championship, expectations. We clearly have the talent for it. Last year we did as well, and it just didn't go well. So here goes nothing. You don't see Tyrese Halliburton winning the MVP award too often. It's cool to see somebody, new. It's always typically Luka or Jokic. So I do like it. Tyrese Halliburton, fantastic season. We go 65-17 in our final regular season here in Golden State. So, it's not the 70-win year last season, but we don't give a shit about regular seasons anymore. Let's just be honest with each other. Cameron Boozer's Rookie of the Year. Jaime Jaquez Jr., Sixth Man of the Year in Miami. Wemby, let's rename the award. Jarris Walker, Most Improved. Zion, Clutch Player of the Year. Steve Kerr, Second Straight Coach of the Year. Yeah, last year's Coach of the Year didn't go too well, pal. So let's lock it the fuck in before we get into this postseason. There are the standings for both conferences. We are the 1 seed. We're the number 1 team overall. Here are the numbers: Steph, Murray, Siakam, Kuminga, Podziemski. Cool. All across the board. Very, very exciting. I can't have anybody have a bad first-round series again. It is us and the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja, VJ Edgecombe, Ron Holland, Jeremy Sohan. Jesus Christ, this is an insanely talented team. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I tried to trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. at one point. Obviously ended up with Siakam. Not really that crazy of a difference, but I can definitely go ahead and live with having Siakam. And I can definitely go ahead and live with the sweep we just handed to the Grizzlies. All right, Pelicans. They beat us last year. We beat them year 1. Who's going to get the best of the best? Why is it I have seen this way too much? Every single time I see either of these two in this game, they're always on the same team. I don't know if it's something like the script of the game, but yeah, obviously they both just went at it in the national championship. Insane. All right, let's get into it. Round 2, we are up 2-0. That's not what I meant to do. Up 2-0 here on the Pelicans. We go up 3-0, and we've yet to lose the game. This is exactly what I was looking for last year. We had the capabilities, but no, you made me make drastic moves. Sad to see. Jalen Green is now playing next to SGA here in Oklahoma City. Still got Jalen Williams, OG Anunoby. God damn, this team is fucking insane. I don't know if we're better than them. I'm not going to lie to you. We are up 2-1 here. Okay, 3-1. They fight back. Don't do it. Thank you. We are taking on MVP Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers, who have Jared McCain out of Duke, right? He's a Duke product. Yes, he is. Our old friend Michael Porter Jr. and... I mean, I don't know if this team really moves me too much. Thanks. All right, DeJounte Murray makes up for it. He gets a Finals MVP this time. And, yeah, what a way to end the video. Why James Wiseman's hurt, or just depressed, I don't fucking know. We brought you back, James. You won another championship here. Who cares? This was fun. I talked a little bit earlier in the video about my thoughts on the Warriors as their group, heads into a very uncertain offseason. Is it the final time that we just saw with the Warriors kind of big 3 together, the mainstay that's been there, for so long now. So, I don't know. It's insane to think about. The Warriors teams, all of them were what I grew up on. And I don't know. It's just insane to think about any of those guys not wearing a Warriors jersey. So, I don't think they'll go full rebuild. I think they're obviously still going to try to build around Steph. Maybe at some point you maybe consider moving him. I don't think that happens just because of how, popular and how much of an icon he is. But I don't know. They are in for a lot of big decisions this offseason. I very much look forward to it. I love the NBA drama. That's it for me, man. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.